sitting nothing on the communion table. We probably even have a few here. But in the Bible, Jesus spoke out against things like that. Matthew 15, verses 3 through 9, Jesus replied, "And why do you, by your traditions, violate the direct commandments of God? For instance, God says, 'Honor your father and mother,' and anyone who speaks disrespectfully of father or mother must be put to death. But you say it's all right for people to say to their parents, 'Sorry, I can't help you, for I have vowed to give to God what I would have given to you.' In this way, you say you don't need to honor their parent. They don't need to honor their parents, and so you cancel the word of God for the sake of your own tradition. You hypocrites. Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. For he wrote, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is a farce, for they teach man-made ideas as commands from God.'" That last one there is pretty tough, man. Their worship is a farce. So let's look at true worship versus false worship. What's true and what's false about what we worship? You ever see those people that seem to get things right? And they'll be doing all the right things over here on the left side, and then all the wrong things over here on the right side. They just go completely off the rails somewhere else. They're as clean as a whistle over here in this one area, but somewhere else they're off to the side. I read a story that happened in Long Beach, California, and it was a few years ago. And there was a fellow who went into a fried chicken place. Everybody likes a good fried yard bird once in a while, right? So he went in to get him a couple of chicken dinners. Had a nice young lady there with him, a date, and he walked in there that afternoon to purchase a couple of chicken dinners. Well, the young woman at the counter apparently just started or something. Anyway, instead of giving him his sack with chicken dinners in it, she inadvertently gave him the cash from the day. All the cash from the day that he had taken in. Most of what was in the bag was cash instead of his fried chicken. So he and his date for the day had decided they were going to have a picnic, and they drove to their destination. They sat down to eat their chicken dinners, and they discovered they didn't have chicken. They had cash money. Over $800 was in that bag. But this man was an unusual man. What did he do? He quickly put the money back in the bag. They got back in the car. They drove back to the chicken place, and Mr. Clean, we'll call him, got out, walked in, became a hero. I guess we would all be a hero if we did that, right? He was an instant hero. The manager could not thank him enough. By that time, he was frantic. He had lost all the money that they had made that day. The guy with the bag of the money looked at the manager in the eye, and he said, "I want you to know I came by to get a couple of chicken dinners, and I wound up with all this money here." Well, the manager was thrilled to death, and he said, "Oh, great." He said, let me call the newspaper. I want to put your picture in the paper for this great thing you've done. I've never met anybody like you. You're the most honest man I've ever heard of in my life." To which the guy quickly responded, "Oh, no, don't do that. over the counter and whispered in the manager's ear, "The woman I'm with is not my wife. She's somebody else's wife." Sometimes as Christians, we get it right in one area, and we're doing all the right things. Over here, we're taking the money back that we got by mistake. We're doing those right things. Somewhere else, we're messing up. Sometimes we go through all the right motions, we do all the right things that's laid before us, and we completely miss the mark somewhere else. These Pharisees were being scolded by Jesus for doing the things laid out for them and their traditions, but their hearts were not in the place that God wanted. Matthew 23:23. "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law: justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things." There are many more important things in life than following some tradition down to the letter. And finally, let's look at the heart of worship. What's really there? And why do we really need worship? Jesus ended our passage today telling the Pharisees that they were ignoring God's law and they were substituting all their own traditions. Let me let you in on a secret that's been happening for hundreds of years, not thousands of years. I don't care who you are. I don't care what church movement you're involved in. I don't care how big your church is, how small your church is. Every one of them pick and choose. We all pick and choose what we believe. I have talked to many, many pastors. I have met so many pastors in my life. And I've asked a lot of them, what is different about your church? The answer is almost always the same. Well, we believe the whole Bible. We are a whole Bible church. If it's in the Bible, then that's what we believe. If you would care to compare your beliefs with the Church of God, my door's open all the time. We'll sit down with the Bible. We'll go through it. We'll go through what the Bible actually says. I'll meet you after the service anytime you wish. And we can compare notes. Now, are we as close as anyone else? Sure. Yeah, sure, I believe that. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that. But we, as we always do, as we always have, we take a hold of whatever the issue of the day is, and we just forget about everything else. We'll grab something over here from the Old Testament, and we'll take that and cling on to it, and then we'll throw out 50 things from the Old Testament. We grab onto whatever we think is relevant for the time, and we make it a part of our voice, and then we turn around and ignore other things that are just as much a part of the Word of God as the things that we choose to endorse. The heart of true worship. The heart of true worship. Now, if you didn't listen to anything else I had to say today, listen to this. The heart of true worship, first and foremost, shows grace to God's children that we encounter in this life. Because it's not about me. I'm way down the list. And it's not about you either. There is way too much judgment in this world. There are way too many people that look down on others because they can't be what we are. If you truly want to worship God in this place, get out of it. Go out and help somebody. Go out and be the answer to someone's prayer, and you will worship God. We're not going to do it inside these walls, guys. I don't care how many songs we sing. We sing 15 every week. It doesn't matter. We worship God when we serve others. Matthew 20, 26 through 28 says, "But among you it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many." That's why Jesus came. He came to serve. Don't we all the time talk about being like Jesus? Isn't that what we're supposed to be? On our little logo it says reflecting the life of Jesus in our community. Aren't we supposed to be following in his footsteps? What do you think that means? He came to serve. He came to give his life. He didn't come to be served. So what can you take away from this passage? What can we take away? What would it be like if we experienced true worship? What is it? Well, first off, it's not selfish. True worship doesn't mean that I get my way all the time, or even any of the time. Jesus came to serve. True worship means that I leave my comfort zone and I do something that I may have never done before for the good of the kingdom. Jesus came to serve. True worship means that everyone else's needs, including those people that didn't find their way into the church this morning, true worship means that all their needs are more important than mine. Jesus came to serve. If you feel empty and hollow today after our worship service, maybe it's because you're worshiping your traditions and things of men rather than worshiping the thing that Jesus wants you to worship. Jesus worshiped God the Father. And how did he do that? He did it through his service. And that's exactly what we should do. Come and pray today. Come and pray about how you can worship in service to God. I'm going to ask our singers to come back up.